and discovered that I really enjoyed it because being a math teacher, it allows me to use that mathematical, logical mindset just in a new and a different way. And in addition, technology is constantly changing. So it's something that I can continue to grow in and not feel complacent. And in my wish to continually grow, I discovered Savvy Coders, which I wanted to do simply because self-teaching can only take you so far. So it really helps to be with a group of people. So I worked with Savvy Coders to create my single page application, which, here we are, sorry. There we are. Okay, so my single page application, I actually created for selfish reasons, really. I have been in a position where I have traveled to a different city, and I remember wishing that I could find a running or walking trail in that city to get some exercise. So I created a single page application that does just that. Now, as you can see, this is the home page. The header here on the home page says what I just said: find a running or walking trail in the city you are visiting. And underneath that, we have a navigation bar, which I will go through all of that. The image here, which is just a image of people running on a trail from unsplash.com, and the footer there that just has some copyright information. Then if you click on St. Louis, Missouri, it takes you to another piece of state. You can see the header changed here to find a trail. And the image here is of St. Louis, just to remind the user that they are searching in St. Louis. Then I have a paragraph element here at the bottom that says, what distance trail would you like to run or walk? And the user can determine what distance they would like to run or walk. So for example, let's say they want to run 3.2 miles, they can select this, and it takes you to an outside site called alltrails.com that gives you a little bit more information about that trail. Now, clicking on either of these links will do that for that specific trail that's given there. If you click on Austin, Texas up here, again, it takes you to a new piece of state. Here we have an image of downtown Austin. Then at the bottom, it says, this is similar to the previous page, what distance we would like to do. And you can click on any of these distances to link you to that outside site to give you more information about a trail there. You can also click on Pittsburgh, which is similar in that you have the image here of the city and the distances that you could choose to discover more information about. Now, if you go to the navigation menu, I'll take us back to the home page. If you go back to the navigation menu and you click on the contact information, the heading here I changed to say thank you for visiting my page, just to show some appreciation for the user for visiting my page. I have an image here of myself, then a paragraph, just a short blurb about myself, why I created this website, and encouraging the user to leave a comment. And I included a link here for emailing me, which links to a blank email that the person could compose an email to me about the website. Uh-oh. Now, if you go to search other sites here, the heading says search other cities for running or walking trails. This page actually is working with an API. So I found an API that gives lots of information about trails based on latitude and longitude to determine trails that are close to a certain area. What I did is I found certain cities, so you can see just these cities here, and I formatted so that returning from that API is simply a list of trails. So we have the image here of, in this case, Boulder, Colorado, and a list of nearby trails that a user could find that list and do some further research on their own about that trail. and we can go to these other sites and you can see it's similar for both San Francisco with the list and for Baltimore. It's similar with the image and the list there. Now, if we go back to the home site, I'm not sure if you noticed on each of those pieces of state that I visited, but the register button is only available on the home site. And if you click on that, it simply takes you to a new piece of state, and you can see the header has changed, register as a user. And you can enter your information in here to enter into this site and become a user. I've created some, oops, I hit back on accident. I created some users on my own. So here I am signed in as a user here. There is no functionality right now for a user. You can use it the same as any other person would. Then when you decide you would like to do so, you can click sign out here. And there's this piece of state, thanks for visiting. I changed the header there and click the sign out button, and that will take you to sign out. Now, as far as future wishes that I would like to have, I pointed out with the sign in and sign out feature that there is no functionality. I would like to, over time, create some functionality, whether that be on the home page, a welcome statement for the user, or whether that be a profile page that the user can create with information. I would be interested in doing that. I would also be interested where I showed you the search other cities, where I included the list from different cities of trails in that area. Instead of requiring a user to see this list and find one that they would like to do further research on, doing that on their own, I would like to determine a way where I can find that information for the user so it is readily available to that person. Now, the functionality of this website, as you can see, each of those pages, each of those pieces of state was created, has a header, a body, and a footer. So it was created using the HTML framework. I then put the HTML framework into template literals so that I could move that to a JavaScript file so that I could give functionality to the user. So they could click on the navigation bar and things like that, and it will link them to what they want to. Now, each of these pages, each of these pieces of state do have a similar format to them, and that was done on purpose. And I did that through linking a CSS page to this JavaScript file. Some difficulties that I've gone through in creation of this website. The first one that comes to mind was actually the CSS page. Through completing this, there were times when the information on my CSS page would not upload to my JavaScript file, so the JavaScript file was not formatting correctly and I couldn't get them to link up. So in order to fix that, it required me to review each line of code within each page of my code and make corrections. And in the case that I'm thinking of, I had placed a capital letter where there shouldn't have been. And I just simply had to make that a lowercase letter. And everything synced up perfectly well. But doing that did teach me the importance of paying attention to detail when building code and making sure that each of those lines do interact the way that they're intended to. Another difficulty I had was with my API search. I showed you how I linked to these various cities. And when I first created this application and I was going through the page, oh, excuse me, did someone have a question?
Nope, that's my dog, sorry.
You're fine. When I was going through this application on my home computer, I was able to use the API and have it return the information that I wanted it to. But when I uploaded it to Netlify, it was not returning the information. And the reason for that was because the API that I chose to use had additional securities that they put in place. And on my home computer, it made no difference. But when it went on to Netlify through the internet, it had to abide by those securities. And actually, it was just last night when my fellow students and I were going through practicing these presentations, and I was sharing the difficulty I was having. Another student shared with me that he was actually at one point had a similar difficulty and shared with me what he did to fix it. So I was able to go in and make that correction so that I was able to return this tonight. Another difficulty I had was with the sign in and sign out feature here. You can see that the sign in and sign out features, they work well, they work fine. But I was unable to see that information on my Firebase. Through inspecting my page and looking at the console, I was able to determine that on my Firebase, I had not updated the permissions, and what I was writing to Firebase was not being accepted by Firebase. So I had to update the permissions so that my database could be updated with the information of the users. Are there any questions about my website?
I've got one. So are the cities where the trails are, did you hard code those, or how does that work?
These cities here, the first 3 cities?
Yeah, the first 3 cities, and then where you search for other cities, are those just hard coded in, or are you pulling them dynamically, or where does that come from? I'm just
That's
curious.
coded in. Yes. That's
okay.
Yes.
Okay. Cool. Are there plans to like let somebody just put in a city and then it says, oh, hey, I'm gonna go check out what the API says and pull back some cool trails for people? Or
yes, absolutely. That was a future wish also, that this API in particular uses latitude and longitude. So I would need to figure out a way to link up a latitude and longitude so that they could go to this particular API. So it's just, it would take a lot longer than the few weeks allowed me to do for this.
I bet you there's an API for that. You say, you know, East, whatever, Stan, Tennessee, and it'll come up with some lat long coordinates for you. There's an API, there's an API for everything.
Yes, you are right. And I have found through Google, and I have found that, but it was just linking it up with this short time frame. I was not able to do so.
Got it.
Yeah, this is totally unfair for runners. As someone who used to run before there was cell phones, let alone the internet, you know, you can figure out your own trails and get lost and get your way home. And I've run in almost all those cities: Boulder, Baltimore, Pittsburgh.
I just like the one that had 0.3 miles. That's the only one I was cool with.
The one in Austin, I think that was.
Yeah.
I actually had a question. So are you guys with, I'm kind of new to the Savvy Coders and kind of what you guys are doing. So when you guys like kind of finish your project, are you continuing like enhancing it just for usage, or is this like a project based type of thing, or is it dependent on the overall user? And
do you want to answer, Cameron, or do you want me to?
I can take a stab at it, and then you can. Sure. All of the above. I think this was this was kind of what I would deem as the minimum viable product, just to show you something that I've been working on. My intention is to continue to add things. It's not done. So my intention is to continue adding things, but I'm not sure as far as Savvy Coders goes what their intentions are. So I'll let Des answer that.
So my name's Desiree Avalon. I didn't get a chance. I wanted to get right into it. I'm the Director of Operations for Savvy Coders, for those of you I haven't met. And we actually require the students to continue revamping their site. So I don't know if Cameron realizes this yet, but on Monday night, she's going to learn that in the next month or so, we want to see her learn something else and redo it in React or something of this nature. And then we keep going and we keep pushing them. Every month, it's very difficult to get rid of us, and we are constantly pushing them to improve their site, because it shows on GitHub, you know, what they're doing. And if they haven't looked at, I look up their sites all the time, and I'm like, I haven't seen any pushes, any commits on your GitHub for a while. What's going on? Why aren't you coding? And so, yeah, it's required for the class, but
Okay. So, can I just offer maybe, and maybe I don't know, I'm not super technical, so some of the stuff may have been addressed. So for when you're kind of going through each city, is there a way for that specific city to be highlighted as it is on that page?
I thought about that too, because if they don't know that, I don't even remember what city that
Yeah,
one
like
was.
Baltimore,
That one I understand.
I would have
But,
never known, but like, I think just like when you're like this
like
one,
having
if
it
the
change color.
St. Louis could be
Okay.
highlighted, so you know you're talking about that specific city.
Sure.
And
So
I
you
think,
just have the image of it to know that that's where you are.
Yeah,
and
because I
then
don't
when
know what
you
those images are.
and then when you search other cities, I think too, when you had, I think when you showed Boulder versus Sanford versus Baltimore, if you click on that, so this one, I wouldn't know that this is necessarily
Okay.
Colorado. I would almost put Colorado again underneath, like as the
Mhm.
line under like Bear Creek
Oh,
out or what, like,
Like above that, or even above the picture, next to the picture.
yeah, some way just so you know exactly, like, I like the concept where you want the photo and, you know, want it to be kind of streamlined all the same, but just as a user experience, like, I don't want to have to keep going, oh, like, maybe I'm going on a 1,300-mile trip and I want to be able to go to different ones, and to be able to just make sure I'm on the right city or state, I wouldn't always necessarily know by the photo.
Sure. Okay. Thank you.
It is
You're
good
welcome.
feedback. Okay, well, if nobody else has anything else, I'm going to let Cameron go, unless she wanted to chill in the back, that's fine. And I'm gonna bring in,
Good job.
Good job, Cameron.
yeah,
You.
I'm gonna bring in Tyler Patterson next. Okay. Let me not delete anything and make sure that, all right. He's coming on. Is anybody else having any kind of internet or cell phone issues today?
Mm,
All day.
Okay, because my cell phone keeps going out, like saying no service, and I totally panicked for a while, but
Yeah, it's been things like Teams and
They-
Skype have been pretty shaky all
they
day.
said that something's wrong in this area. I'm in Illinois, but we're in the same area. Okay,
Yeah, the
I was
internet
just
virus.
curious. Oh, hi, Tyler.
you got to
Hello.
stay 6 feet away from your router. Yeah, you just want to snuck up on us,
Is
man.
that
I'm
it?
like, I think that's him right there.
It is.
How's
I
everyone doing?
put a mask over my router.
Hi.
Okay, this is Tyler Patterson, and I'll let him take off. Go ahead, Ty.
Hello, everybody. Okay, so let me grab my screen.
This is fun and doesn't make me feel bad about my life choices in the current situation, like Cameron's, with all the running in the trails. It just makes me cry. As I
All right,
eat
so-
more food.
Well, they're all closed right now, so
Right? Exactly. I can't.
Yeah.
have
you
fun
definitely
anyway.
can't feel guilty about yourself
Yeah, his
not
is fun.
doing that.
Yeah, I found a few parks in my area that are still open I've been using.
I don't want to know those.
Okay, hello, everybody. My name is Tyler Patterson. I currently work with a software company called Club Ready, and we provide gym software to health and fitness clubs pretty much all over the world. Some of our clubs that we work with, like Cycle Bar, Club Pilates, UFC, Stretch Labs, a lot of chain gyms. I am a tier 2 support specialist for them, and I've been with them for about 8 to 9 months now. And working with them in that time, I've gotten a wide variety of questions from our clients, from very simple to very complex. And when I get those more complex problems, I need to get my development team involved to look at the coding. So I've gotten to work with them a little bit and see how they do their job, their coding and what it looks like. And it really intrigued me. And a lot of them recommended that I start using my free resources such as Free Code Camp, Code Academy. And eventually, after exhausting those resources, I looked into Savvy Coders. And I've been with Savvy Coders now, obviously, for 12 weeks, and it's been great, and I've learned a ton. And for my project, I have built a Tetris game. Now, it should look familiar to most of you, and you guys can all see the screen, right? I'm just letting it build.
Yeah, it's giving me a lot of anxiety, man. You got to move some pieces.
I'm working on that.
They're just
Absolutely.
piling up. I'm like, yeah.
Oh, just wait. Just wait.
It's awesome.
So
I was tempted to go like ask for control and just start.
I can send this to you absolutely and take control. So the arrow keys do move it. It moves at 1 second per square. So most of this is JavaScript. The canvas itself is HTML. The text, the font, the link is HTML, but primarily I have 2 JavaScript files. And then we'll get to this piece later. But so as you can see, I can move the pieces left and right. They don't go off. If I continue to hit the right, it won't go off the page. To the left or to the right, I can hold down and it will go down faster. So this is all really based on an X and Y axis. This is 200 pixels by 400 pixels. Each square is about 20 pixels. And it kind of recognizes each square and if it's vacant or not, if it's open or not. So for instance, this piece will not crash into this piece or overlap, and it will stack on top of each other. One of the problems I had making this project was getting the pieces to not collapse with each other or overlap. So with I needed help on this with my teachers, creating a collision detection function to where if it notices one of these squares is taken by another piece, it's a if else statement, and will not block that piece. So, and then also, if you can see, we'll try to get a score. There we go. So the row disappears, the next pieces go down in their axis. So it is 9 across, 19 down, and it knows where to go, and increments by 10 each time. I did some fun stuff like change the colors of the background, change the colors of the pieces, some of them. And then if you also see, I added this piece. So normally there's about 7 pieces in Tetris, being S, Z, J, T, L, which are all 3 by 3 pieces if you look at this board. And then there are 2 other pieces, which are the I and the O, which are 4 by 4 pieces. So I created this other piece which I call the Q piece, or the donut, which is this pink guy you saw, which creates a little bit of stress for people, kind of teaches you to strategize, but I just want to do something a little different. And you'll notice also that they will all rotate. So there's a Q piece, there's a donut piece. This kind of makes you strategize for the future. But they all rotate as they should. They all overlay on top of each other. And then when you get to the end, now this will be a separate screen, so I'll have to share a different screen. So let me share this screen. And hopefully you guys can see that pop-up message. No stress. Nice try. Remember to wash your hands. And that is the basic gist of my project for the most part. Definitely had some complications. Definitely needed help on quite a bit. This is, like I said, primarily JavaScript. But some future things I would like for this is maybe a high score to keep track of like your initials, like just your first, like the letters of your initials, and you can kind of keep track of a high score, even though I think that adds stress to the game. It's supposed to be for fun. But then also I would definitely like to add a background to this HTML, this background. I'd like to add something, like a space background or something cool, make it a little bit more interesting in the eyes. This is a link, obviously, to my GitHub. And then, yeah, I mean, I chose this just because it was something everybody was familiar with. It was nostalgic. It seems like something that seems simple to most people, like, oh, it's just a Tetris game. But when you tell them to inspect the page, go to the console, go look at the code behind it, it kind of opens their eyes to what it takes to build something like this. and it's really relatable for people, I believe. So yeah, that was my project in a nutshell. And yeah, that's what I got. Does anybody have any questions?
Yeah, pretty impressive. How do you control the kind of like the coloration and the appearance of movement through the grid?
So the coloration is really all HTML. I just found HTML colors that worked, and it's in a JavaScript file.
I was thinking more even specifically, is this like a CSS grid and you're like, how did you code it, make it work?
It's all JavaScript and HTML. Okay. I did not even need to use a CSS file for this. So if here in my Tetris JavaScript, these are the pieces and these are my colors. And then this is my added color for the cube, for the pink color, the donut shape, the orange. These all work within HTML5. I had to make sure they all work, and they pulled it pretty well. Sometimes I would try a color and it just wouldn't show up at all, but most of them did. And then these are my Tetra Nemo pieces. You'll notice, so let's go for my L piece. You can tell if there's a 1 there, that means that square is taken, and it will show that it's taken. So you can see the pattern of 1 to the left, 1, 1, and then the rest are zeros, they're open spaces. And you can tell after the first rotation, it rotates up to the right, across to the bottom, and etc. So, and then my Q piece, which is a 5 by 5, the center is a 0, 1s all around. So if that helps make sense. But yeah, my style.
I got a question. Oh, sorry. I know you weren't done.
No, go ahead. My style is blank. I'd like to add styling to this. Absolutely.
Okay.
I was going to ask so the timing, so there's an event that happens every second, where it decides, okay, we got to drop a piece down. And I noticed that sometimes if you were rotating the piece, it would stop dropping. Or if you like mash it up against the side, just keep, spamming the right arrow, it'll stay there for a little bit. So, I mean, that's great. I mean, you can give yourself more time to strategize and stuff, but
Buys you time.
yeah. Well, how does the timing work? Is it an interrupt, or is there an event? Like what is it that makes it drop down after a second?
So that is, it's basically, it almost comes down to milliseconds. So it matters, it's like 1,000 milliseconds. There's an event where it moves, it obviously drops one grid. So it knows each square and knows to go down by each square. And this was an event listener, and this drops each 20 by 20 square each time. And that's just something I'm trying to work on too, is to continue it dropping while you scroll to the left and the right. That is something that would like to add on as well.
Okay.
But yeah, that is kind of a cheap way to do it.
Could you maybe make it, because you said you wanted to add some of the background or change some of the background around the white space. Is it possible to have it to where I can pick my own color theme?
Ooh, absolutely. That would be awesome. If you could choose your own background.
Yeah.
So
not only background, but my color theme for my pieces.
Yeah, that would be awesome. That would
Like
be
I
a
want
great
rainbow
feat
or
to do
something.
well. Yeah, and so
love
that's that's where I kind of need to get my styling better. So using my style CSS, where I think I would have a lot more options to play around with these pieces. But this was pretty JavaScript heavy, so being able to just get the pieces to move right, not overlap, not go off this axis, this XY axis, and getting them to stack, getting them to disappear, increment by 10 points. But absolutely, the styling is probably what I'll work on next.
Cool.
Well done. I think it's a big step to be able to think in those type of matrices. And
Yeah, to come up with your own.
the relationship to the others.
Yeah, it was, and this was something. I'm a quality over quantity type of person, so I really wanted to build something I could do in the short amount of time I had that I knew would work, rather than something very, very large, which of course I had an idea for, that just really wasn't going to work. I mean, I could make it look good, but it was going to be pretty difficult to get it up and running. But this was just, I found it very, very fascinating and relatable.
Excellent. Yeah, Tetris is one of those games where, the guy who invented it originally is like, man, why didn't I think of that? And it's a cool game. It's a cool little game.
I like the donut
Yeah.
piece. That took some ingenuity.
So is this public? If I go to that URL up there, can I
Play.
play it? Yeah, I want to play.
Yeah,
Not
it's
now.
connected
I'll
to
wait, but
Netlify.
okay. I'm not going to play it right now because
Thank you.
I'm paying attention. Yeah, but
Yeah, it is.
Curious.
And I saw it recently just changed from Netlify.com to .app. I know they just recently changed that. But yeah,
What
it
was
is.
your biggest challenge in creating this? What was the thing that made you, I don't know, cuss the loudest or something? When I went through my boot camp, that's what I did.
The semicolons, capitalization, the naming things,
The
forgetting the
details.
names.
Oh.
Like I said, in particular, though, getting the pieces to not go off that grid, to stack on top of each other, was something that Martin, our instructor, had to really help me with. That is honestly still confusing to me and involves quite a lot of math, but it worked. And I'm still researching that as well. But my biggest challenge was keeping those pieces on the grid, and making sure everything works within that 9x19 grid. Everything works within that.
Why is it 9x19? Is that a Tetris thing or?
I believe it's a Tetris thing. I mean, I could make it bigger, and I need to. I honestly need to make it bigger because I created that custom piece,
The donut.
which is far too large. I mean, yeah, throws everything else off.
That's fascinating. I love games.
It's relaxing. It kind of takes your mind off. And I don't know about anybody else, but I've been reorganizing my house quite a bit lately. So this is kind of, nice warm up.
Yeah, all of us have. Okay.
But
Well,
yeah,
does
that's my
anybody else have
project.
any questions? You want to talk? Have any questions for them?
I mean, how have your guys' businesses been doing? How are you guys doing during this? I mean, is it, it's crazy times. That's all.
long live the hustle, brother. That's how it's
Yeah,
doing.
right.
Are you staying busy at Club Ready?
So full transparency, I have been furloughed.
I gotcha.
So I'm one of the very few employees that was furloughed recently, and I'm really, really grateful for that. I was very, very busy. We were doing the work of many people that were laid off. It obviously came down to the wire. We work with gyms. All of our gyms are shutting their doors temporarily. But yeah, I was furloughed, so I do still have a position with them legally, hopefully. But yeah, we were very busy. Everybody was working on different projects and helping each other out. So hopefully we'll return there eventually.
Okay. Steve, I can't hear you.
Hopefully they hang in there. I've been going through all the processes for the Paycheck Protection Program loans and disaster relief loans for one of the small businesses I own, because it's Main Street's really struggling. Everyone's shut down.
Yeah.
Our one business is considered essential, so we have to be open, but there's not many customers, so we still can't pay the rent.
Right. I believe our company, I don't want to give exact numbers, but around 65, 75% of our staff has been, laid off or furloughed or temporary, gone. But I mean, my company, and you guys got to realize I'm really in an entry level position. I'm tier 2, whatever that might mean. I've worked in my position, but they obviously found enough reason to keep an entry level person back with them. A lot of my fellow coworkers that do the same job were laid off, had to turn in their laptops, drive to the company to turn in their equipment. And, I'm very fortunate I did not have to do that. I still have my work laptop. If they need me, I'm available. So they know I'm doing this boot camp. They know I'm willing to learn and I'm open, forever a student. So I think that really helped, and it, helped me as well.
Always is good to do that.
Yeah.
Forever a student. Okay.
Well, good.
Well,
Well, hope
nobody has-
you get your stimulus check any day now.
Yeah,
They're
that would be
starting to-
nice. I'm hearing people are getting it today.
They did in Germany, like the
Yeah.
Americans in Germany.
Oh, really? Wow.
Yeah, I had a tax business, and a lot of tax customers started getting them 2 days ago.
Yeah, so I've been hearing too. Yeah, I won't complain.
So when you get back at Club Ready, do you think there's some opportunity to, I mean, I know times are different right this second, but obviously they have their development teams and everything, and you've worked with them. Is that kind of the direction you're looking to go, is to try to kind of get the foot in the door on the development side over there, or?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, now obviously I'm open to anywhere. I'm open to anywhere that has meaningful work that I can live with some financial freedom, obviously, and learn something. But no, I think it makes sense for me to try to transition over there as a junior dev or a QA engineer, quality assurance engineer, just because I've been working on their website for 8 months and I've seen some crazy stuff on their website. Bugs and glitches, things that duplicate that shouldn't, cross information with different members. So it makes sense, but I know we are a really relatively smaller company, and it would be maybe in the tech industry, 2 years is considered long. So it could, work there for a year. Hopefully a junior dev role opens up there, and they've assured me that there will be eventually. So yeah, foreseeably, yes, working at Club Ready and working my way up and then seeing what's available from there. Because I don't want to just job hop too much. I've been there for 8 months and I really want to level up in that company, if that makes sense.
Mhm.
Well, you did a great job. Thank you so much, Ty.
Yeah, thank you guys for coming out today. Weird circumstances.
Yeah, but it's really cool. It's been very exciting to do this. I don't know how many different things you guys have been doing with Zoom, but it's been very interesting
Yeah.
and a lot of fun. So, okay, well, thank you, and
Thank you,
good
guys.
luck, and I'll talk to you later.
Cool. Bye, guys.
Okay, bye. Next, we're going to admit Arthur, and he's coming on now. You there, Arthur? Hey,
I am here.
okay. Well, go right ahead.
All right. Hello, my name is Arthur Kane. I spent 8 years in the Marine Corps. I also have 17 years of law enforcement and security experience. After 17 years of being in that industry, I wanted to do something that I finally wanted to do, something that I had a passion for. So I decided to go to school and get a degree in graphic design and also have a degree in project management. And then I found Savvy Coders, and I thought this would be a great opportunity for me to do something in IT, something that I've really, had a passion to do. So I saw this opportunity and I took it, no questions asked. So during the 12 weeks of this cohort, we learned how to create a single page application using JavaScript, HTML, and CSS. Now, my project that I have implements that, and I decided to take it a step further by taking on a client and building a website for them in this particular process. I wanted to build a website or an application that helps mainly young adults that are graduating high school or have graduated high school understand the real world a little better. So getting a job,
paying taxes, paying the bills, looking for apartments, buying a vehicle, and miscellaneous spending that's optional, just to give them an idea of what the real world is like. Because the client and I understood that the American education system isn't designed to teach our young adults right now, how to be prepared for the real world, and to keep them from making too many mistakes and going into debt early. And we also don't want them living paycheck to paycheck, because most of us know how that is. So onto the website here. I'm sorry, can everybody hear me okay?
Yep.
Okay. So with the client, we decided her company's called Envisioning Your Future. So we set up the website as so. So for this sign-in, our forms here, it's going to have it linked to Firebase eventually. At the moment, it is not linked. But we're going to have them sign in, and they'll have their own clientele. And once that happens, this sign-in button will link, and they'll be able to log in. From there, they'll go to the home screen. And users will have the option of using the nav bar to the left here, or the actual icon to click on where they want to go. So for the summary here, that gives the user a rundown of how much money is estimated. This is a dummy for admin here. Gives them a rundown of how much money they'll estimate for the month, how much money the bills will be for them to pay, any other obligations that they need to pay for, and also some miscellaneous spending. I'll use JavaScript to set all of this up so that the math is done for them. Where we see the links here that they can change some of these numbers so that they have the options, because each month it may be something different. Now, some of these links here to the left, they are not completed. This is a work in progress, but we do have something set up for them just so we know that it's working. That way, whenever we get the information, we can populate the page. We can come down here to the About Us. So we use simple HTML just to type in everything that we needed for people to see about the company. We also have links on the inside here to take us to another link to contact us page. And once this information is in here, that will take over this placeholder here. But I wanted to put something in there to show everyone what it would look like, and it's all subject to change since this is all still a work in progress. So at the particular moment, I was told I need to let you all know some of the mistakes that I've made. I think one of the biggest mistakes about just making a particular website in itself is just knowing when to write the code, like where to put it so that the render functions actually work. So having a lot of, I'll show my code here. Having written this code, it was very difficult for me to find where exactly I needed to put some of these lines of code, just for the simple fact that I did not know or understand that in order for the specific code to run, it needed to be before the render function, because the render function is what makes everything show up or run the way it's supposed to. If I have it before or after the render function, then it won't render. So luckily, I have a great group of instructors and TAs here at Savvy Coders to help me out with that, just to get a fresh set of eyes. I like to try and take care of things on my own, but once it gets to a point to where I feel like I want to beat my head against the wall, then it doesn't hurt to ask for help. So I have a great group of people there that were willing to sit down and look at things for me with a fresh set of eyes.
Yep, even if we force you to every now and then.
Yeah, you guys force me to, because I'm just one of those types of people. I don't like making mistakes, but at the same time, I understand and accept it that I'm going to make mistakes, especially being in a new industry. And I'm ready to take it on wholeheartedly, because this is something that I've wanted to do. As far as future functions, I'd like to obviously finish the rest of these links here so that I have some information there. But I'll have to sit down with the client next week, and we'll go from there as far as whatever the information is that she wants in there. That's one of the benefits of actually having a client, knowing, if I'm doing something for someone, then it's easier for me to, talk back and forth with the person and get some information, draw some things down on a piece of paper, and try and make it work for them. So at this point, is there any questions that you all have for me?
Will you pull up the summary one again? I think
I'm sorry?
I think the one that you have completed. Would you mind pulling that up again?
Sure. Which one?
I get whatever
The-
one that did the bills and
It showed all the bills, like it actually had it written out, and yeah.
Okay. Are you like are these the ones that the client wanted?
As far as the numbers, or is this how it's going to be?
No, just like
written?
the different
Options.
ones that the options, not the numbers. Obviously, it sounds like you can change. So you can does it work right now where you can change it and it will populate?
No, not at the moment.
Okay. Is there a way to also add to populate I don't know if this is even possible, some type of calculator that could come up if there is something else that maybe you're not necessarily, it's a one-off type of bill that gets added. Because some of them are just, it looks like, or if there's a way to add additional one as, life continues. Are these just the standard ones that'll always be in there, or are you able to even adjust
For the time being, this is the standard. She was going off of, the normal every month bills like electric, gas, car, insurance, things of that nature. But it's going to vary for each client that they receive.
Okay.
So eventually here in the future, yes, we will be able to add other bills in there. That
Okay.
would probably go under obligations instead of the utility bills.
Like car repair, you had to get new
Yeah,
tires.
I mean,
Right.
there's just a lot of
Obligation.
one-offs with life happening. So to just it be this is the standard, or if there's a way to populate a calculator that pops up and you're like, oh crap, I have this that happened. And, just so people know, obviously it's just.
That's actually a good idea. I can, when I get a chance, I can speak with the client and bring that up to them and see what they like. Ultimately, it's what my client wants when it comes to this. So I will try and be more flexible with that and just throw out some suggestions and see if that works. I'm sure they wouldn't have an issue with putting a calculator on here for their clients. Makes it a lot easier for them.
Is it for budgeting specifically, or for, because it's for younger people, say they wanted to start saving money. So can they put in a savings goal or something like that? Like they want to save for a trip or
Yeah.
a new
Uh,
car or something.
For the time being, it's going to be budgeting, but it's also when you budget money, you're trying to save so that you can buy things that you want, which would go under miscellaneous, which that can change.
Oh,
And
I see.
so
Okay.
the,
Okay.
the clothing, the games, you can see the total down there for those particular things. It costs $340. The JavaScript's doing the math for them. So if they change the numbers, it'll repopulate down here at the total. And basically what will happen is they will see, okay, over here on the right side, decisions, I'm like, I only have $189 to spend, but for my miscellaneous spending is $340. So I need to make some choices. Do I spend now or do I save later? That's kind of what they're trying to get them to understand, that when just because they have money in their pocket doesn't mean they should spend all of it now to get what they want, because something is bound to happen. As you can see, there is nothing in here stating my car broke down or I have to get new tires. That's what we're trying to show them.
Right, that
eventually.
they can, so that they can save up enough. Yeah, it's smart, because if you overwhelm them with too many options in the beginning anyway,
Right.
for younger, they're not gonna, oh my gosh, this is all right, I'm not doing this. That's good. It's very cool.
I've seen on one of the financial websites where it was kind of similar to this. They had like a dollar bill kind of a picture and allocating certain
Cut it.
what are going towards obligations, bills, savings, and then extra. So it's kind of more of a visualization type chart. I thought that was kind of cool.
Okay. I'm
Good idea.
always open to suggestions. Like I said, it's something that was put together from the client and myself, that we sat down and collaborated on this, and knowing that this is a project as well, it was just like, I need to put something in here to show people that I have a working website. So it was more of this is an idea of what this particular page is going to look like, but this is not going to be the end product.
Tom, that's a really good idea too, and something you might want to talk to your client about.
Oh yeah.
Or there's a visualization, because that's something else that's very, very easy for everyone, but especially somebody that's not used to budgeting. It does help, like if you literally see the pie cutting up.
Yeah.
As opposed to just random numbers. It's some people are more visual. I am. That's a really good idea, Sean. I like that.
Sounds like a great idea.
Does anybody else have any other questions?
It's a great concept.
Yeah, it's very good.
I can definitely say that maybe about 12 years ago, I was a perfect definition of this. Well, most of us were all young and dumb. We make mistakes, and it's one person sat down and talked to me and told me what it is that I needed to do so that I can get my life back on track. I did not listen to that person. I heard him, just didn't listen. And so some years later, I had another person tell me the exact same thing. And I'm thinking to myself, okay, I'm older, I'm wiser now. If I want to get on track, I should probably listen to these people, because this is the exact thing that was said to me years ago that I failed to, implement. And so I did it. And it took me 3 years to get in a spot where I wasn't living paycheck to paycheck, and I was living comfortably. And I'm not rich, I'm not wealthy, but I don't have to worry about anything. If something comes up, there's money in the bank that we can get that taken care of, and I'm not broke. There's still money there. Just have to be wise about spending. There's a lot of things that I want that I don't have, and I love this concept. And so that's why I was just like, this will go hand in hand. This is something I would love to do. So let me build this website for you, since you actually want to go and counsel people on this and have guidance. I'll do this, and I'm actually doing this website for free. Yeah. So I'm going to be working on this for a while, and this is my baby. So
Can't wait to see what it comes out to.
Yeah.
And
It's
maybe,
needed.
if you can have a section, because it sounds like you're passionate about like guiding, financially, and maybe having a section that has that involves different, I don't know if it's APIs, however you connect it to other sites, just for like training individuals financially and having a go-to place for different aspects of savings and things of that nature.
okay, yeah. I can definitely do that. There's
Maybe
going to be,
success stories too.
you mean like testimonials?
Yeah, as they build over time.
Definitely have that too. I can, like I said, I can bring all this up to the client. I can make these suggestions. At the end of the day, as a project manager, I'm going to do what the client wants me to do, but I will definitely bring those up. I've written them down here. As you all were talking, I've written them down. So I'll bring them up to her and we'll see how that works. Just have to, if she wants it, we'll just have to figure out how it's going to show up on the webpage.
And lucky if you have any problems, Savvy's still here, so you can always ask more questions.
Oh, I'm already over there. I'm
You are. You've been great. I've seen
yeah,
I'm following your
I am going to bug Matt until he gets tired of me.
Yeah, he's
Love these guys. And I can call them any time of the day, especially since I'm a night owl and I do all of my work at night. So I actually had a couple of guys that were willing to sit up with me at night and kind of walk me through some things and help me along or look at something. It's awesome.
It is awesome. Does anybody else have any other questions?
Oh, that was terrific. Well done.
That's cool.
Well, thank
It
you
was
very
great,
much.
Arthur.
A lot
Thank
for
you
12
so
weeks, isn't it?
I'm sorry?
It's a lot for 12 weeks, isn't it?
When I first started doing this, I was told that I was not going to have this done in 12 weeks. And I was like, oh crap, what am I supposed to do? And it's like, do as much as you can. Do as much as you can. Make sure something is working and present it and keep working on it after you graduate. And I was just like, okay, I will do the best that I can and do as much as I can within the 12 weeks. And so that's where I'm at within 12 weeks. So I'm pretty proud of myself. Because in the beginning, I was just like, I don't know if I'm going to be able to do this. Looking at it now and finishing what I have done, it doesn't seem like much. But then I look back at where I started and I'm like,
Yeah.
that's actually a lot. It doesn't look like it from someone that doesn't do the back end. But that's,
To all of
I'm
us,
happy. I'm happy.
that's wonderful. Thank you so much, Arthur.
Well, thank you. Because you all gave me the opportunity to do this, and this is a step in the right direction I want to go to, and hopefully I can get my foot in the door someplace.
Well, our next student actually had something, you guys, we were talking about the outages. His internet's completely gone. So he can't get on at all. So this is the end. So if you guys have any more questions for me, the other classes, so there's three of us right now. Stephanie has one, Elaine has one, and I have this one. You guys pulled the lucky stick with me, and my dog. The other two though will be available on. We're going to send that out in the morning for recordings because we recorded everything. So we sent it out. We're going to send it out in the morning, and so everybody can, if you had somebody else that you wanted to look at, because we have a basic of each of their, like a synopsis of all of their projects. So if there's something, because there's some very exciting ones in the other ones as well. So be looking out for that. And if anybody has any questions, I can answer anything if you need me. Now or any other time too. All right. Well, thank you all so much for being here. I appreciate the flexibility for coming into the class and to hear our students' projects. They've worked very hard with not so many tears, a few, but not a lot. So next time I have to be a little tougher to get more out of them. So thank you. Stay safe, stay healthy, stay sane. Don't murder your spouse. It's a scary world out there.
No, it's exciting. It's exciting.
Sure.
It is so awesome. There's no traffic right now when you drive around.
No, that is fun.
You could go 80 miles an hour on 270. Did you know that? It's great. I can get anywhere in 30 minutes.
There you go.
I can get to Hazelwood in 30 minutes. It's just, there's no cops either. It's awesome.
Yeah, but they're unfortunately, they're not fixing any of the potholes on Manchester Road, though. So you can like bust a rim.
Yeah. Yeah,
You know,
80.
where I am, they're doing all kinds of road work. In O'Fallon, Illinois, they're just it's like all torn up for it. Okay.
Well, tell them come on over when they're done.
Yeah.
Yeah, when they're done, that's it.
Yeah, when? If.
Right. Okay. Well, thank you guys so much. I really appreciate your time.
Oh, thanks a lot. It was great.
Thank
Good
you.
All
chat.
right.
Well done.
Bye.
Good
Bye.
job, Arthur. Bye.
Job, Arthur.
Thank you.
You did great, Arthur.